Hello everybody, my name is Heidi Hollis, and I am known as the Outlander because of my awesome radio show. I think it's awesome anyways. Um, and I help out on the Kevin Cook Show. I'm a co-host on there, and I also do reports for Paranormal Central. And I always did, for, gosh, a very long time, I did Alien Advice, a column where I answered people's emails in regards to anything and everything out of the ordinary. And I'm still doing that. But I usually do it on the radio shows, but I'm also posting them up here on YouTube, so I thought I would throw another one out there. So I've got one here, and this one says, Dear Heidi, as a Coast to Coast AM listener since 1994, I've heard you a number of times on their program since 2000 or 2001. What I haven't heard is how long shadow people and Hat Man entities have been around for. It surely seems like many other demonic activities are ramping up, but these two are relatively new, are they? Thank you, Holly. You know, it's kind of funny. I always get called Holly. People blend my first and last name all the time, and it doesn't seem to matter in emails or in person. It just happens. So how long have these guys been around? You're saying shadow people. I say shadow people and the Hat Man phenomenon. At one time, I even blended the two, but it's not exactly the same case or the same entity. You know what? I've come across stories that are modern and biblical as far as shape-shifting things that can essentially take on any form and represent an absolute deep darkness that just echoes fear and fear for one's life. And, you know, who's to say, you know, some of these ghostly apparitions that have been reported for God only knows how long, because oftentimes I've come across stories in various books where, you know, people say, I saw the shape of a man, you know, but it was dark. And today we would call that shadow people. I would call that shadow people, but they don't necessarily look exactly like the shape of a man. I describe the one that's more closely related to the shadow people and looking like a man as the head and shoulders shadow, which looks like kind of a big hulking man with its head directly connected to its shoulders. If you get a really good look, sometimes they have red glowing eyes, really disgusting, looking back at you. Not appreciated by anybody. I know I didn't appreciate it myself. But yeah, then I've heard of people describe, you know, very much kind of like a person in a certain shape of a person, but solid black. And then there's also confusion that goes on out there in regards to some aliens that have hoods and round glowing red eyes. So, and they look black as well. So, there's a lot that goes into deciphering, you know, what is what, which is which. And I like helping, you know, people decide, you know, what it is that they've personally experienced. So I always welcome people to write me in regards to what it is that they've experienced. And the more detail that people can give, the more easy it is for me to decide and decipher, you know, what it is that they're experiencing. Because, yeah, I mean, you just never know. I always say this is the paranormal. There are no definitive definitions out there, though people like to try. I try too. It's just to try to keep some sanity in regards to the shadow people phenomenon. But yeah, I think these things have been around for a very long time. I mean, evil, pure evil, that can take on a lot of different forms. So what were they called back in the day? They just said demons, the devil, you know, demonic activities. You know, sometimes people even described, you know, negativity taking on a form, and it was black. You know, demonic stuff has always been associated with the color black, you know. Lo and behold, why that is, perhaps the shadow people have been, you know, responsible for this for all we know all this time. But yeah, so I know it seems like the demonic activity is ramping up because it is. It is. And in all honesty, it really, it breaks my heart, and it's absolutely disgusting what's going on out there. People are truly suffering. And they don't have a whole lot of people they can turn to in regards to venting about, I just survived the night, you know. I dealt with something so awful, and people just look at you like, I didn't hear anything, I slept well. They think that something was in your bowl of cereal that made you delusional for some reason. It's sad. It's sad what's going on out there. And, things have changed. They really have. And there's a change that's happening right now that even some researchers are coming forward about. I've been speaking about this for a very long time in regards to the shadow people and the change that would come in regards to the alien abduction phenomenon. It seems like yin and yang, that they're not connected, but they really are. And there's a lot of people that have experienced alien phenomenon who have seen shadow people or vice versa. And, I've been screaming it from the mountaintops as high as I could go. Oh, I couldn't scream that well. But anyways, I've been trying to tell people. I've tried to get into conferences to talk more about this stuff. And, the powers that be who run these conferences, a lot of people weren't open to that idea. But now I find a lot of people and other researchers are getting in touch with me saying, whoa, aliens and shadow people kind of go hand in hand. I'm like, yeah. In my book, The Secret War, that you can find anywhere, as an ebook, I did take it out of print, but it's like still going like hotcakes, and I'm like, wow, I guess I better put this thing back into print. But if you go to HeidiHollis.com, HeidiHollis.com, you could find how to get that. It's on Amazon as an ebook. But I've described in detail a lot of the things that I personally experienced in regards to the shadow people and how aliens were connected from the start. And I'm very happy to hear that others are stepping forward. One being Kathleen Martin, who was on my radio program, The Outlander, recently. You could go to InceptionRadioNetwork.com and find out about that. I will also have it posted up on my personal website and on my Facebook page. So click follow me on there, and you'd be able to see that link. It's on my page there and on my radio page. So I was really impressed and surprised that she, who is more of a scientific-minded person, to discuss how the alien abduction phenomenon has changed to be demonic or angelic. Because there are beings out there who do speak more highly of God, who don't look like the typical beings, who don't do what the typical alien beings do. And what's typical? The grays with the big bulbous head, black almond-shaped eyes, and so on. Short little creatures, gray in color. But there's a whole slew of beings out there that just don't get addressed. And I'm glad to see that others are addressing this, and that are coming forward with this topic. So this may seem just like, whoa, this is just ramping up, but it has been ramping up for a very long time. And I've noticed for years alien abduction phenomenon was declining. All my emails used to be about alien abduction, all of them. And then it swapped over to be shadow people. And now it's mainly swapped over to be the Hat Man phenomenon. And the Hat Man phenomenon is a phenomenon that it's the highest level of evil that I've heard of out there. And just mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing what's going on. So I'm really doing my best to try to put word out there that this change is happening. People are getting abused by the darkness out there, and the ramping up is a real thing. It has been for a long time, but I think people are really starting to notice. I tell people it's not, potentially that you're going to experience one of these things at some point. It's a threat that you're going to. So, and if you do, I'm here. Others are popping up to try to be of assistance. And, all is not lost. Keep positive, keep the faith, and we'll figure this thing out, so don't worry. But I welcome you and everybody to write me at dasoutlander@gmail.com. That's D as in David, A-S, Outlander @gmail.com. And you can hear all my radio shows for free that I do of the Outlander on InceptionRadioNetwork.com. HeidiHollis.com. I have most of my shows there too. I do need to update that, but most of them are up there. So yeah, feel free to live and learn. And I always welcome people to call in for the first 30 minutes of my program to ask me directly about what it is that they've experienced. Or even if you just want to be a guest, hey, if you want to take up 60 minutes, let's do it. If you've experienced something, I'm here. So let's do it. So I hope that you guys found this informative, and thank you so much for writing me, Holly. And hey, we'll keep it moving. Take care.